Recently, there have been a ton of leaks and rumors about Marvel's Phase 5.
Talk to me, baby.
And oh man, they sound dope as hell. It seems that Kevin Feige is bringing some incredible things to the MCU.
Let's go, baby, let's go.
So we got a couple of things to do in this video. Number one, I want to break down all of the different rumors. And again, it's a lot. And number two, I want to speculate on what all of this means and kind of give it context because, yeah, there's a lot going on with Marvel's Phase 5, Phase 6, and Secret Wars. But before we get into either one of those, it's incredibly important that you smash the like button if you're having a good time with this video. Just do it.
Got him!
But no, seriously, it's important that we sort of frame what is happening right now. You've got to take these things with a grain of salt, but it's also pretty obvious with all of the different news bits and rumors that have been coming out that there's a lot of movement and production going on currently at Marvel Studios.
I'm not seeing enough movement!
And this is important to keep in mind for two main reasons. Number one, because it makes sense as far as the timing of all of these things coming out when we're a couple of years away from closing out Marvel's Phase 5. Like, this would be the time that they're making decisions, throwing ideas out there and writing and rewriting their scripts. But number two, there's plenty of time for Marvel to change things, and some of the things we'll talk about in this video maybe are true now, but will not be true by the time the movies come out. But I will say that what I am hearing is that there are changes being made by Feige deliberately to address major issues that fans had with Marvel's Phase 4, and he's trying to sweeten up a lot of the different projects in Phase 5, especially the last two. And that brings us to this, the first main thing that we got to talk about in this video, all the different crazy rumors. I want to start with Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk. And he's also the president of the United States. What? And just a couple of weeks ago, we found out that Harrison Ford was going to be replacing William Hurt, may he rest in peace, as General Thunderbolt Ross. And a lot of us had the same idea. Holy crap, he's going to be the Red Hulk. And that's partially because before we found out about Harrison Ford, there were a lot of rumors that you were going to get a setup for World War Hulk and that the Super Soldier Serum was going to play a major role in Captain America New World Order. And so you see, the Red Hulk rumor predates Harrison Ford being cast as Thunderbolt Ross, so those two things kind of just went together perfectly. And now we're getting some clarity from a lot of scoopers and insiders, and yeah, it absolutely appears that Harrison Ford is going to be the Red Hulk in Captain America New World Order. But beyond even that, Grace Randolph has indicated that she heard he would also be involved in the Thunderbolts movie, and he would be involved all the way until Avengers Secret Wars. That Harrison Ford has signed a pretty freaking big contract and will be playing General Ross and Red Hulk in multiple MCU movies. And holy crap, that is absolutely incredible. I love the idea of Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk, but somehow, some way, it got even crazier as reports this week from Daniel Richtman indicate that not only will Harrison Ford be the Red Hulk in the MCU for multiple movies, but he's also going to become the President of the United States of America. And that puts into context the New World Order title for Captain America in a whole new light. And it also elevates the potential drama and tension between Sam Wilson, Captain America, and Thunderbolt Ross to a huge, huge level. Like, that is really crazy. As, of course, part of the issue with Steve Rogers' Captain America was his reluctance to just completely comply with the United States government. This was a really interesting thing done throughout the comics and throughout the MCU as well. And both Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers stood against the Sokovia Accords. That was such a massive big deal. Remember when the Winter Soldier convinced S.H.I.E.L.D. that Captain America was an enemy of the state, and then in Civil War, Captain America is literally now a sort of war criminal for aiding people that were trying to escape the Avengers for not signing the Sokovia Accords. He's got a checkered past with the government, and so does Sam Wilson. And on top of that, there's a lot of tension between the discoveries made by Sam Wilson about the history of the super soldier program and Isaiah Bradley, and just racial tensions between himself and the United States government. But on top of that, as is established in Wakanda Forever, and as many other scoopers have come forward to talk about, it also seems like vibranium and the United States wanting to get their hands on some vibranium is going to play a big role in either Captain America or Thunderbolts. And that's mind-blowing in and of itself. Like, dude, Wakanda's been going through it, and now the Red Hulk as president might be trying to crack down and get their hands on vibranium. And on top of that, of course, Telecon and Namor, they've got a bunch of vibranium as well. So it really does put a sort of weird shifting political landscape at the forefront of the MCU. And on top of that, we can assume that after Secret Invasion, the world might be even more paranoid than before, because we believe there's going to be a different president of the United States during Secret Invasion, and he'll either be revealed to be a Skrull or die in some kind of a Skrull attack. And then Thunderbolt Ross will be elected to be the president of the United States out of fear and out of a lot of American people wanting safety and security. And as a part of being safe and secure, Thunderbolt Ross is going to be likely having control of the Thunderbolts in some way via Val. He's also going to try to get his hand on Super Soldier Serum, making himself into the Red Hulk, but possibly creating other super soldiers. And then the whole idea of getting his hands on vibranium is interesting as a way to maybe weaponize or help the strength of the super soldiers. And there's even been talks among different insiders and scoopers that adamantium and potential ties to Wolverine and the Weapon X or Weapons Plus program will be established in either Captain America New World Order or in the Thunderbolts. But guys, that's not all. There's even new reports that you're going to be getting the Squadron Supreme in the Thunderbolts movie. That's a relatively new rumor coming out from KC Walsh, and people have also talked about Kazar and the Savage Land also being a part of this movie. And so you start to talk about all these different pieces. You've got a president, Thunderbolt Ross, Red Hulk, played by Harrison Ford. He's now in charge of the whole country, and he's looking to try to get some vibranium. And so there's going to be somewhat of a conflict or a war between the United States, and this includes the Thunderbolts, versus Wakanda, possibly Telecon, and they're trying to get their hands on vibranium. On top of that, you've got the leader and the idea of more super soldiers being created, possibly through Jennifer Walters' blood or just the super soldier serum itself. And then you've got the Squadron Supreme, Kazar, and the Savage Land maybe popping up as well. I mean, all of this stuff sounds pretty freaking mind-blowing. But now we've got to use our nerdy powers and speculate on how all of this is going to tie together and what we might actually see when we check out Captain America New World Order and the Thunderbolts movie. I think a lot of what is going to be happening at the end of Phase 5 is all having to deal with world power being consolidated. And with Ross as the president of the United States, I think you're going to get teams like the Thunderbolts, maybe even the Squadron Supreme, replacing the Avengers. And Feige might look to do some of the Dark Avengers things from the comic books, but just with Thunderbolt Ross Harrison Ford. I mean, maybe in the past he wanted to do this with Norman Osborn, but he can't exactly figure that out with Sony. And maybe now this is the path forward for the MCU, for the Dark Avengers, and for this sort of darker time in the Marvel Cinematic history. I also can't help but think about Doctor Doom and a lot of the rumors of Doctor Doom being behind a lot of the conflict in early drafts of Wakanda Forever. And now that that's been abandoned, one must wonder, will Latveria and Doctor Doom also pop up on the MCU's map in Phase 5? And will he be at odds with Thunderbolt Ross? One thing that we didn't really talk about in all of the news is World War Hulk. And there's a lot of established rumors that World War Hulk is going to be a thing, that multiple Hulks are popping up in the MCU, like Scar, like She-Hulk, and even more like Todd Hulk that got retconned by this weird robot thing. And all the while all of that is going on, there's various mutants beginning to pop up in the MCU. And with the advent of adamantium and the possibility that either the Thunderbolts movie or New World Order will have Thunderbolt Ross establishing Weapon X, I find that to be a brilliant way to introduce maybe the new Wolverine for Marvel's 616 and to establish a bunch of crazy things going on in the world that will lead to a mutant saga. This is something we're hearing a lot about, is that after Secret Wars, Feige essentially wants to heavily focus on the mutants for like almost an entire saga in the MCU. And in this sort of arms race, this sort of Cold War for powerful people to help different countries or different people in the MCU, it's really possible that mutants will be seen as this weapon of mass destruction that has to be regulated in this new world order. And this stuff has me super hyped up, man. And again, they're changing the scripts and they're in early development for these movies that will be the end of Phase 5, but I gotta say, I'm liking a lot of what I'm hearing, and I think it addresses a lot of problems that people had with Marvel's Phase 4. Of course, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Smash a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe to this channel and our live streaming channel so you have a chance to win the dope nerdy thing that we give away each month. This month, it's a pair of incredible Marvel Legends figures. And if you want to watch more, why not check out this video I just did breaking down the first real details we have about Avengers Secret Wars.